Welcome to the Luke Branquinho Show. Today we're going to be live at the Cinch Stage at RMEF Outdoor at Hunter Christmas. Whether we're in studio or at the National Finals Rodeo, you can always check us out on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. Welcome to the Luke Branquinho Show. Today, it is the Beauties and the Beast. I am here with four lovely ladies, rodeo wives, that have to understand the rodeo trail, but not necessarily be on the rodeo trail because their husbands are out there making a living for them. We have Josie Martin, Lily Hay, Stephanie Fields, and then obviously I'm going to save my beautiful wife, Lindsay Branquinho, for the end. Ladies, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
So on the show, we have a lot of people, like cowboys, that talk about going up and down the road. But what the fans don't know and the people don't see is what's at home, what you guys are doing. And I know for some of you get to travel and be on the road with your husbands. But Stephanie, I want to talk to you first. Casey, multi-time world champion, rodeo family. You have kids. You can't get out on the road with him all the time.
No, it's sad. Well, when Chamberlain was little, our oldest, she's 9 now, we had a bus and we went everywhere with him and we have the best memories. And then she started school and we had Huxon and now we have Remy and with sports and all the things. It's just too hard. It's too hard to go out there, and in 5 days they'll hit 3 rodeos and the kids just they don't love that. So it's hard, but it's also hard when we're home alone. So he doesn't go to a whole lot of rodeos anymore. So it's, I think it's just with his age, we realize that time is so precious, and we try to go as much as we can, but it's just too hard.
Well, fortunately for you, as dominant as he is in that event, he doesn't have to go to very many rodeos.
Luckily, it's been a blessing for sure.
And for me, it's been an honor to be able to be in the same arena as him. We've got to become very close. I got to spend some time with him, and before Louis had passed, I got to enjoy so many great stories with Louis, and just such an amazing family and amazing men.
Well,
Josie, last year, first NFR. You had something going on last year during the NFR.
Yeah, so when we left, I was like almost 38 weeks pregnant. My due date was December 16th. We almost had him here, but we made it home. So he was born like Tristan Road Saturday night. We left Sunday, drove all night Sunday night. He was born Monday at 6:30.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I was a scheduled C-section, so I kind of thought that gave me a little barrier of protection because my doctor's like, I think that's the route we're going to have to go. So I wasn't really worried about him coming, but then everyone was really worried. So I guess it's a big deal when you have a baby. So
Right. Well, making home a blessing.
Yeah,
Tristan had a great NFR.
Yeah.
To me, coming from that family, again, a very tight-knit rodeo family, and
Right.
having that success and being able to get to see his family and everybody out here. Do you get to travel with him much?
This last year, I went for a couple weeks in July, and then I kind of finished out like the last week, 10 days in Pendleton. I've worked full-time. I'm a nurse, like in my regular life, but since I had the baby, I've just been working part-time. So most of the time it's 2 or 3 days a week, but I do have the freedom to be gone. Like now, I'm not obligated. So I did go quite a bit this summer, which was really fun. Just with the baby, Tristan didn't have to miss a lot of those firsts, like the crawling and the, him standing up, and his first teeth were all like on the road. So Tristan didn't have to miss that, which was fun.
Lily, let's hear about your experience. Because, I mean, you come from obviously a family of rodeo cowboys and cowgirls too.
Yes.
But the travel is so much different than a steer wrestler's wife to a bronc rider's wife.
Yes, I actually feel a little fortunate. So speaking of steer wrestler wives, Quincy Eldridge is my aunt, but more like my older sister. But we have a lot of family we're cheering on this week. So we have Clayton Bigelow in the bareback riding. We have Logan Hay, my brother-in-law, in the bronc riding. We have Lefty Holman, my little cousin, and then Dawson Hay, and then of course Dakota. So it's a big family affair for us on the road. It's comforting to know anytime I go out, I'm probably gonna have some family members there and a lot of friends. That being said, I see how it's more difficult for, the steer wrestler wives versus, a rough stock wife. We can fly a lot of places. Dawson can fly in and out where I go. I know you guys have that extra obligation of horses and trailers and, you know, traveling partners and your hazer and everything. So I don't ever take that blessing for granted that, you know, I was, same thing, super pregnant all summer. And I was like hoping, you know, I was due in mid-October that, you know, the baby wouldn't come early, but I knew Dawson could just hop on a flight, you know, and not leave horses behind or anything this summer. So I don't take that for granted, and I don't take for granted having like family and friends to go to when I do get out and go to rodeos.
Well, that's definitely a blessing to have that time. And one thing about the rodeo world, which we all know, even if you didn't have your extended family or your immediate family there, it's such a tight-knit group. You can go and get help from anybody, and that's one thing we love about it. Lindsay, we got married 2004, and we jumped in the horse trailer with 3 other bulldoggers. She got to experience the bulldog and rodeo life. And for me, it was, I had to enter those guys, and then we were entering Lindsay as my, I guess, 5th traveling partner, buddy. But she got to experience the stinky cowboy.
Yeah, there's nothing like newlywed life when you're in, I mean, how many square feet? 150? Maybe. With your brand new husband and his 3 best friends.
I wouldn't call him my best friend.
Living in bunks. And yeah, I mean, I think at that time, like what you brought up is it was really challenging. I mean, that, like our situation, but also me going from my independence and rodeoing on my own to then like us trying to enter together. And you had just won your first world title, so you had more obligations and as far as sponsors and stuff, so where you had to go, and we're in one trailer, so it's like if you had to be somewhere and I couldn't make the barrel racing work, like I didn't enter. And bulldoggers haul horses a lot differently than barrel racers do.
I learned how to wrap legs really fast. Not very good, but I learned how to wrap them.
Anything to get them in the trailer quicker, right?
I can remember in 04, after winning the world, we were rodeoing 05 with that group of guys. I think I had to go down with the U.S. Army at the time, was my sponsor, and I had to go to South Padre Island for spring break for the U.S. Army.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I mean, anybody that knows spring break, there's a lot of young women not wearing much clothes because it's a beach and it's hot, and anyway.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously for the Army sponsorship.
You didn't want to go.
Of course.
I did want to go.
Twisted his arm, forced him, yeah.
Yes, it was a great experience. We had dinner with the Dallas Cowgirls.
Oh my gosh.
But she knew, I told her about it a month later.
Yeah.
No, so actually, I mean, since he's brought this up, it's fair game. I was at home when that happened, and it happened to be like a very cold and rainy day, and I got home from work late. It was totally dark, and I didn't know where the heater in our new house was. Like, I didn't know, and so I had like plugged in a space heater, and it blew the breaker, and I didn't know where the breaker box was. And so I called him about like 75 times in the dark at night by myself. And then finally, like at some point, I had missed a call from him, and I listened to the voicemail, and it was like really loud. And he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm at dinner with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I'll call you in the morning." I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm leaving. Like, I'm packing my bag. It's over."
That is so funny, because I remember you posted that, like, it was a couple years ago, I think, and I was like, this girl is my spirit animal. I was like, I need to find her, and we've got to be friends because she gets it. Because I think we've all been there. Like, those phone calls. I know when I did my companion pass, like I talked about, and I know you did too. Like,
all companion
like you hear that in the background, and you're like, okay, have fun, but don't.
Yeah.
Like, don't have fun. I hope you're miserable. Because like you're at home, and like you also have to fend for yourself at home a lot. I do have a lot of family, like you're saying, like a good support system, but like I don't like to ask for help, first of all. And like, there's a lot of stuff that you just have to do, especially once you have a baby. You need an extra set of hands, and everything just takes longer. And like, so having somebody gone, you just notice that absence a lot more.
Yeah.
So especially when you're with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders,
There
I'm
was
sure.
3 of them.
That's
Okay? It wasn't the whole
extra
team.
little added, yeah.
I'm glad you brought up companion pass, because that's something that I know you all have enjoyed doing, and me as a really, I love to read, so I don't read it all. I was hoping she'd put it on audiobook or something. But the fans, everybody loves the companion pass. They're asking, are you going to bring it back?
I want to, and I actually have a few that I'm waiting to post. I mean, with our move and stuff this summer, life got away from me a little bit, but I have some girls that have agreed to do it, and a couple of girls that have written them, and I need to get them up. Like, that's my goal after the first of the year, is to really get it going again, because there are so many stories, and I really started it because I wanted to hear the stories of other rodeo wives, because I think we all manage it a little bit different. I mean, it's kind of survival, right?
Yeah,
and so I like being able to hear the stories, and most of them as a rodeo wife are so relatable. Like, you tell your story, I'm like, I identify with this part. And you tell that story, I'm like, that happened to me too.
Right.
And then I think for people kind of outside of it, it gives them a look into like the behind the scenes, like what it really takes for these guys to go down the road to be like competing at this level, and the sacrifices that are made by their family and the people that love them. I think it's really great, and I've just been so honored by you girls and everyone else that's been willing to share their story, because I think they've touched a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Well, I loved readings. I loved everyone's. And I remember before I wrote mine, Stephanie had wrote one and Lindsay, you had written one. And I loved reading them because I was a young, new, like, rodeo wife. And it was like, there were just difficulties. I knew what it would be like. I'd seen it, you know, from friends and family before. But I think a lot of people see, you know, what they do on the road. They have fans, they have people that cheer them on all year long. But they don't ever think about, you know, the family at home, the aspect at home, that a lot of the times we're being like the man of the house, holding down the fort. And I
that's
think,
for sure.
and I think Companion Pass just opened a little bit of the door, to like a little bit behind the scenes, you know, to an aspect that I don't think a lot of people have like thought about.
Yeah, because they see like this life. They see like the glam and like the fun rodeos that you get to. They
Especially
don't
in Vegas.
It makes it sparkle. Like, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, they don't see it when it's like blizzarding at home and you have to feed the horses. Like things like that. That's super
exactly.
fun.
Well, I know for me, what she has done to help me in my career, even writing a retirement post. She's like, well, what do you want it to say? And I felt like, here's a bucket. I cried into it, words. And she picked them out and tried to make it. I mean, I'd have never put that together like that. So everybody's like, oh, we love your post. You wrote it so well. I'm like, thank you. I cried them into a bucket. And I try even thinking about it. But I mean, that's just the support that she's always been there for me, like you are all there with your husbands. And honestly, I don't think this rodeo world would be, the cowboys, I should say, would not be successful without the strong backing they have with their wives like you guys.
You're a lucky man.
Yeah, very.
And I think a different thing too is you guys obviously get nervous, but it's in your control, it's in your hands. I sit with my father-in-law obviously every night, Rod Hay. He's qualified 20 times to the NFR. He says it's way harder to sit in the stands, way more nerve-wracking than to be out there competing. He's like, it's not in my control. I have to sit here and watch my boys from a distance. And I'm like, that's right. This is not an easy job. You know, it's not easy. We're not sitting here, you know, just relaxing, watching the rodeo.
Yes.
I don't know. I get nervous.
Especially the eliminator round. Like
is that you tonight?
Yes. I was like, he told me last night. I was like, when is that round? He's like, tomorrow. I'm like, oh.
Oh, this is the eliminator round, right? Yes.
I hate this round. He loves it. Like, this is his cup of tea, but I'm like, I'm a wreck. I
what does
don't
he have
like
tonight?
it. It's a good question. I don't know. You know, Louis told me like years ago. We were married maybe a year, and he's like, you know what? Veronica never worried about like what the draw was or what the horses were, and you know that's just not something you just don't need to worry about. And I was like, cool. Then from then on, I just never really worried about it. Yeah, and another thing is Casey doesn't really know the horses very well either, so that helps too. So it was funny, like talking about being in the stands. So him and Veronica have those front row seats.
Right.
And when he would watch Casey, he would like lean back and he would like tuck his chin, like he was riding like every jump with him.
That's the
Luke. She makes fun of me about that.
Yeah, his air dogging, I call it. He's like always. So Kate, our oldest, has started shoot dogging now, and he'll be out there doing it, and I see Luke's like leaning, and he'll try to get the thing, and then like his arm like comes up, and I'm like, oh, you got it. You're gonna help him.
That is so funny.
It does help.
It does
We're
help.
sending the vibe, the aura, whatever it's called. Yeah, I'm telling you, they feel it. And anyway, I'm not going to get into it.
I think the thing about being nervous though watching with the finals is like for everybody else at home watching, it's like 10 days and it's exciting. But I think, I don't know, I can't speak for you guys, but for me it was like, it's 10 days, but it feels like so much is riding on that because it's 364 or 65 days leading up to that. Yes. And then you know if those 10 days don't go good, like one, what they've put into it, but two, it's another 365 days until you get back there for another shot at it, if they even do. And so it just feels like, it feels heavy. It's it's hard.
I think like just the financial aspect, like Tristan will talk about it all the time. Like if you're not making the finals, you're really not probably even breaking even on the year, especially hauling horses. If you're mounting out, if, you know, God forbid something happens, you have a baby, you know, like So if you don't make the finals, it's really hard to make money. This is the week where you go into the green, you know, and so it's important to have a good finals on top of it. Just getting here is like his minimum at this point, you know, for the financial aspect. Anyways.
Well, and for me, and Lindsay had touched on this, when I was here as a competitor, it was business. Like, I'd do my obligations to sponsors. I would go back to the room. I'd take a nap. She said some of the couches we had in our hotel rooms were most comfortable couches ever. You know, I'd have lunch, go to the rodeo, business. As soon as rodeo's over, hopefully go get a go-around buckle, and then if not, it was right back to bed. So I mean, it wasn't that you see it on the outside. They don't realize what Lindsay went through, and I'm sure all of you. When business is at hand, you take care of it. And as a competitor and then competitor's wife, you're like, well, let's maybe go to dinner, or let's do that. And like, I was like, no, I'm here to take care of business.
It is, it's so true. And with kids, it's so hard because to them, it's like a vacation. And it's like they want to do all these fun things, and it's so hard being me and the kids, and Casey's, you know, doing all these other things. So it's hard, but it's, like you said, it's a job, it's business. So
and I think the family is always so excited. I know our family's so excited, and it's like, hey, let us buy you a steak, let's go grab a beer, and it's always innocent. But you do that with all 75 of the Martins, you know, pretty soon it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And so, like last year where I was pregnant and miserable, I didn't leave the hotel room. I went to the rodeo, went back to the room. And so Tristan, I think, kind of used that as an excuse partially, but like, we got very close during the finals last year because we were just together all the time. I was like, are you good? He's like, are you good? We're good. Okay, let's go eat. We're going to go to bed. And then anybody want to do anything? He's like, nope, we're going to bed. Nope, we got to do this. And so it was a good like bonding week for us, for him to focus, especially being his first finals and being nervous, but then also pregnant with the first baby. It was just a really good take care of business, focus, and like get shit done, you know? So I was thankful for one positive out of it. You know,
just get pregnant again for next year.
Well, ladies, I truly appreciate you all coming on. Best of luck to your husbands and your husband. You might roll an ankle walking up on the stairs, but it's been a pleasure getting to hear the insight from you guys. And I honestly feel like this episode, we're going to do it again with you guys because there's so much more out there that we can let people know. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.